Congress will continue to pass legislation to hold the VA accountable, but only the administration can change the culture from within. The President owes the American people a real, long-term plan to fix the VA. Not a promise, not a pledge, not rearranging the chairs on a deck.
House Speaker John Boehner calling for President Obama to come up with a real plan to fix the Veterans Administration. This as the VA is dealing with a scathing report revealing that agency wasting $6 billion of taxpayer money annually. According to that report, the money is spent on illegal contracts and out-of-control spending. Amid the shocking allegations, the VA still trying to recover from last year's health care scandals, and on this Memorial Day, it is high time we take a look at the VA to examine the alleged improvements or the lack thereof. Joining us now from Newsmax Washington, former Defense Department spokesman J.D. Gordon. J.D., welcome back to Newsmax Prime.
Great to see you, J.D. Happy Memorial Day.
And to you too, sir. And on this day, let's take a look back. Last year, our president had some comments about fixing the widespread problems within the VA.
At this stage, what I want is somebody at the VA who is not spending time outside of solving problems for the veterans. I want somebody who's spending every minute of every day figuring out, have we called every single veteran that's waiting? Have they gotten a schedule? Are we fixing the system?
That was President Obama last year, but J.D. earlier this month, Speaker Boehner claimed the president and his administration was not doing enough. Where is the problem here?
The problem, J.D., is a flawed sense of priorities from this administration. Speaker Boehner was right the other day to mention that only one person has been fired since then. Now, the VA director tried to say there were 600 fired, but when you get down to it, the New York Times even reported that that was just 14. And most of those people were transferred or forced into early retirement. They weren't really fired, per se. So only one person actually got fired, and that was the director of the Phoenix VA, where 40 veterans died on this secret wait list. It's really outrageous, and the administration has to do a better job for our veterans.
The administration, of course, administers the law. That's why we call it the administration. But to the recently passed law, or the law with the VA reforms last year, J.D., I had my suspicions. The House version, on one hand, seemed to be fairly straightforward. The Senate version, headed up with Bernie Sanders, seemed to have some of that language that protected union members and government employees, and of course the Senate language was ultimately adopted. Is that where the problem exists?
I think the problem is with big government. I think some of the unions have had kind of a negative role in this because they've been interested in protecting the workers too much. The bottom line is you have to be able to fire anybody that's not performing. And unfortunately in the government, it is super difficult to fire anyone. It's just like at the DMV. You know, you really don't get great service when you have to wait in line at the DMV all day, but once you actually get seen, you're probably going to get taken care of. Well, imagine that for healthcare. I think the VA system is kind of like one big DMV. It's bureaucratic. People could treat 2 people a day or 20. They could just keep people waiting for 90 days. The 90-day wait list has doubled since this problem emerged. So the VA is not getting the job done. I think some privatization has got to be included in the mix.
J.D., we recently had former Senator Elizabeth Dole on this program, and her new organization provides support to caregivers of disabled veterans. Let's listen to what she had to say.
These hidden heroes, young spouses, mothers, fathers, siblings, other loved ones, trying to care for those who've cared for us, for the wounded warriors. And I saw them struggling because so many of the wounded had multiple injuries, illnesses, and wounds.
And again, J.D., the challenge is the VA needs to do something to help these families. Will the VA and will the president on this Memorial Day really resolve to move forward and help the nation's veterans?
Well, you know, President Obama thinks it's a money issue. You know, there's $168 billion in the budget for next year. That's more than there was in the past, but just throwing money at a problem doesn't get results. Look at the Denver hospital, the Denver VA hospital. Cost overruns are tremendous. Right now, it's up to $1.7 billion for the hospital. That's triple the estimate from last year for the VA. That's outrageous, but that's what you get, JD, when you have big government. You know, from being in Congress, whenever there's big government out there, you're going to have more of an inefficient system, cost overruns, delays, hard to get rid of everybody. They've got to have a major overhaul. And you know, one other thing, JD, I'd like to mention, that if President Obama spent 1% of the time on helping our veterans than he does trying to give more rights to terrorists at Guantanamo, we'd have a lot better country.
On that note, J.D. Gordon, we thank you for your comments. You heard what J.D. had to say. Do you agree with him? Why don't you email me? Here's the address. Newsmax Prime at newsmaxtv.com. There's also Facebook and Twitter. And we're coming right back.